Hello. Hey guys, what's up? Hello. Hello. Hey guys, my name is Ismas, and this time we're going to be uh, we're going to be streaming After Effects. Yes, so in the previous, so I've been streaming a lot of Blender tutorials, and last time we created this earlier intro in Blender. So I decided maybe I could give it a try. I could try a different person, maybe in After Effects. So I went with TSM Myth intro. So let me first pause this. So this is what we are going to create or attempt to create in After Effects. Let's play this back again. Yeah, that's it. So let's try breaking it down a bit more. So just bring it and import it in After Effects. So we begin with this. Before we won't start with the transition, we are going to start from this writing or I'm not sure how it's called, but we're going to start with this. I see, and then we have a right effect there that zooms out, and that a matrix effect, and then we transition to the logo. So it's fairly simple, but yeah, there is some complications to it. So let's dive in. So first of all, let's create a new project. I'll save this. TSM Myth animation. Then create a new composition. I'll call this main comp, and maybe we can subdivide this into two views, so two horizontal views, and we can lock this view let's just drag this to the side and lock this view. Let's have this, maintain this as one view. So let's begin with this text here. So let's add a text, user name, center this. So it's been a while since I used After Effects. So if you see me, so we have that. Let me expand this a bit. I guess we can start with this animation here, but let's first pre-compose this. And I think they're using a very basic font. Maybe it's even, I think, Times Roman. So let's pre-compose this. Pre-compose. I call this username and go to this. So if you go and if you click on this to expand the options, you can go to animate. Let's see what effect do they use here first of all. So it seems there is a blur and a character change. So let's see, what do we have? Animate. We have the character value, character offset, and blur. So let's try playing around with the blur and see. Let's see. So how does it start? So it starts off blurred. So which means it starts. Yeah, so we can begin from 0. And I don't know how many frames we are using. So let's see, up to 100. This is supposed to be 100. So let's preview that and see. We have that, but this is a vertical blur only, so we can come into the options again, animate, blur, and let's see, advanced. Let's see. So let's unlock this, and so this is around there, and the vertical blur is not too much that you can't see, that you can't read out the, you can't tell. Maybe let's increase the font a bit. Center this. Make sure we have the alignment still centered as well. So we want to increase the vertical blur. Now let's see. Let's see what they have here. Okay, so now let's try animating the character offset. So where is that? So animate. I'm not sure if it's character offset or character value. So let's see. What about character value? Not sure. Let's just use character offset. And we can start again from here. Again, let's first keep this at 0 and select the range selector. So for the range selector, we start off. What should we animate? So let's first make some animations here. You see, so if we put this at around 16, how far? Okay, so 16, and set a keyframe there. You can also up to 100%. So we have that kind of animation. Let's see. I think it's roughly the same, but we just need to add that blur effect again. So let's see. If we come into this composition and add a blur, let's see, vector blur can, let's see, vector, what does, how would this work? It's not this. Let's try just a blur, regular blur, box blur. Increase the radius, make sure we only have it in the vertical direction. Duplicate this layer, Ctrl D. One should not have that blur. This one can be at the bottom, and this can be right. Let's see the iterations, and maybe we can change the transfer mode to, I think normal is still okay. We just need to add a glow effect here. Sterilize glow, and let's see, intensity. Now if we play back, and we can reduce the effect a bit by reducing the opacity. So we have that. And if you want to change the text for this, you just come into this composition and write whatever you want. And so let's see. So from there, we have this blinking text. I think this is called, this effect is called a typewriter. So we can try using that. So again, we can, since it's using the same effect, this blur effect, we can come in this composition and add another text layer. So you can use, I'll just use myth here. Align, make sure this is centered. Align vertically and move it below here. And so this is myth. And there is an effect called typewriter. That should do that job for us. So this starts a few seconds after. So we can, after this, we can wait a few seconds, like so. Maybe the more you separate these keyframes, the longer the typewriter will type out. Maybe we need to also space these characters a bit. So character offset, I think. Let's try bold for this. Okay, it's not exactly the same font. I'm not sure. Let's change the font a bit and see. No, 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 no. Let's see. You know, that's the easiest thing to change about this, so we can do that later. So let's see. And the great thing is that our glow effect, and that is still applied here. So we can come back here, see if we have the right timing. Maybe not. So this wait has to be delayed a bit and slow down a bit. There's a myth. What else? We just need to create that blinking part. For that, we can just use a cube like this. Let's see. We can use a triangle. Sorry, a rectangle. But I'm trying to see if there is an easier way to do this. Let's see, if we just use a text, how about this dash, and set it to bold. Let's try using the Arial font, black. Let's try a different font. Let's try medium. Oh, bold. You can copy the position of this and paste it on this, and so this should be around here. And for the blinking, as you see here, we can use an expression in the opacity. So if we hit T and then Alt click this icon, let's try wiggle. Let's see 5, and let's see. I don't remember the expression very well, but let's see. So it is going between 100 and 60 by 100. Is it the other way around? So 50 by 1. I don't remember the expressions very well, so let's just keyframe this. So you can set a keyframe there and it there, turn it off, then bring it back up, and we would have, so there needs to be some good off time here. Let's move this so we can begin when that dot is off. So, and now we can copy this a few times. Let's see. If let's zoom in a bit here so that, and actually the expressions would not work because would not work best here because you can see in the animation here it changes how long it takes to beep. See, it's slow there and then it speeds up. So it's like this. So it begins around here. So it blinks once, switches off, and by the time it comes back here, so we mark a keyframe there. It should change its position so that it's in front of the M. And it should appear before the M appears, so around there. This how are we doing this? It appears can push this back a bit, so around there. Let's play back. So the M needs to wait a few seconds before. I don't. Should it? Okay, they should appear at the same time. So we need to bring this even closer. Okay, maybe that's how close are they. Okay, this is delaying a bit, so okay, so it comes there. And so it has to go like that. Let's mark that position keyframe as well. And then before it comes back, so around there, so we switch it off and mark the keyframe position. As the Y appears, it should also appear in front of it at full opacity. And we can repeat the same process for all. Hello, June. Juan, the MC15. What's up? How are you doing? And let's see. Now we just have to repeat these. Repeat this for T. So here I will set the opacity. Switch it off. Let's delete this keyframe. And as T comes on, we switch that on. Let's also move its position in front of the T. Then after a few seconds, we switch it off, wait for the edge around there, switch it on and make sure it's in front of the edge. Let's preview this. Yeah, that's what we need. And if we go to the main composition, and let's see, after that, so after that, this fades into the background. So we can convert it into a 3D layer. So we can switch toggles and go to make it a 3D layer, and also we can add a camera, a 3D camera, and we can set the transformation, keyframes and everything way to around there, and all of these have to be 3D layers. So then push the camera away from the word. I think for the camera, let's delay the position. Sorry, offset the position. So we're only animating this part here, the position, so we can unset these keyframes. And now we can add in those X's. And the way we can do this, we can approach this, we can create a new, let's see, a new layer. We can set this to be 200 by 200. And we can draw an X shape. So if you want, you can just use a text. Let's just type this out, X, and use a font let's go with this one here. I think it's cooler. Scale it like that. Let's turn on transparency. Now we don't need to. So, and then we can come to this layer. On this layer here, let's call this composition X. Come to this layer and drag the X into this composition. There is an effect called, I think, repeat tile. I'm not sure. So let's see. Layer, is it effect? Make sure we have the layer selected. Effect. Is it under generate? Let's type in tile. I think it's this one. Repeat tile. Repeat. It's either motion tile or repeat tile. So we're going to try them both and see. And see. So yeah, I think it's repeat tile. So to the down, want it to repeat down like that. And let's try motion tile and see what's the difference between this and that. Yes, it seems there is not too much difference. Let's just use motion tile in the height. Let's see height. So we also need to turn this into a 3D layer. And we want to create a field of stars like this. So I think what we can do is come into this composition, pre-compose. Should we pre-compose this? Maybe let's pre-compose it from here. Control C, pre-compose. Let's change the height 1920 by 1280 by 1080. And create our stud field in this composition here. So we convert this into a 3D layer. What we can do is split this view into two and change one of these views into a custom view. So we can look around. And for this, we can set it to be the active camera. So we can have this, add the motion tile there. Let's make sure this doesn't have the motion tile. Come here. Add the motion tile. Height output. Not sure what this phase angle is. We have that. We can also try out the vertical type. So X and repeat that a few times. Convert it into a 3D layer. Actually, we could just use that instead of this because as you remember in the hello Digital Rays, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. So instead of using this pre-composed X, we can just use this typed out X because we can, as you can see in this animation. Is it? Yes, some. Okay, I don't think it's. I thought those characters changed, and maybe we could do that in our composition. Sure, dicto phase. I can try that, and yeah, you can send me a message or about what you want done. So let's see. So, and the best part of using a typed out X, you can offset the distance between each character. So if we use this character, let's see, is it cunning? Let's make sure I have this selected. Let me see. Yeah, you can see we can increase the separation between each character. And if we wanted to animate those, we can just go add the animate effect. So where is that? Character offset. Let's try animating using the character offset. You can see we can do that, and because all the characters were X's, you see that's why we see that the offset is the same. So we can type out different offsets, different characters. So I'm typing out random characters, and when we set the offset, you can see we are getting different characters every time I scroll with this. Yeah, dicto phase, yes, I can do that. I don't know if you can hear me. So let's reset. Let's remove that because in the animation here, you see that the X's are not being animated. So let's not animate them as well. So let's turn these back into X's. Duplicate them. So duplicate this. I think we can set this to top view. Control D. Move this to around there, and increase the offset. Like so. Maybe reduce the fonts. Duplicate that again. Control D, push it in front. You can Control D, duplicate those, push them like that. I randomize their positions as well. So when we come to the main composition, we need this to be fit, and we can turn on this icon here. I think it's called continuous rasterizing. I don't know. So let's switch goes. I think it's called what? It's called this, I think. So that in this 3D view, it is affected. Let's see. Okay, so it seems I'm turning it on a different layer. So it's supposed to be this X. So you can see, though this is in a different composition, these X's are being created in a different composition. After I'm done, man. So even though we have these in a different composition, they're still affected by the 3D camera in this composition. So let's reset this camera. So reset that. And randomize, come back to this composition and continue randomizing some of these characters. So we want to have some small ones and just increase and increase the character offset again. Let's make sure that I'm offsetting the right thing. So okay, it's this, and we can duplicate this again. Move this around there. Control D. Maybe increase the font. We just need to make a few random X's so that when we move the camera, we have some bit of parallax effect in the camera. So you can see you can select these, duplicate them again, and push them forward again. Maybe like that, and let's go to this composition. So I'm not sure when they come in, so the camera pulls out. We can add on camera motion blur. So if we go to the camera settings, camera option, we can turn on, we can just turn on the composition motion blur. So and then turn on motion blur for this layer. So but before we do that, let's come. So you see, we still need a bit more X's. So but we'll come to that a bit later. So I think, when does the camera move? So this is, so at around here we need to move this composition. Maybe scale it a bit. Let's see, we have the motion blur now. So still need these ones, some of these layers to be randomized even more. Let's see now. Let's first preview what we have already. So it still obviously needs a lot of work, mostly on the X's here. What we can do, we can come into this layer. Where is this? Here, and we can drop in a few X's that are 3D but don't have the repeat effect on them. Just to give the effects more depth and randomness. We can drop in a few that are smaller. To break that pattern that you see there. Maybe push this in front as well. And I think we need to separate these. Let's change. Oh no, let's just keep it here. Let's see. We need to randomize. So this can be pulled around there. I need to spread these out a bit, and let's see. Pull the camera out even further. So and you can see that effect there. I think it's called it's a zoom camera. Let's see, how is it called? Radio blur. So we can add it under an adjustment layer and change from spin to zoom and increase the amount a bit when the camera starts moving. So we can first switch it off here. Let's see, the camera starts moving around. Around here, and so we can turn the amount from 0 to around, let's say, 20, and let's play back this. Actually, these keyframes have to be, let's see, so the camera needs to continue moving, and let's see, we need now to add these random characters that are falling from the sky. So to do that, let's create a new layer. We can give it a height of 248 and a width of, let's say, 100, something like that. And we can use this vertical T to write a few characters. Like that. And let's see, we need a different font, so let's try this one here. I'll reduce the character offset, make sure this is auto and this is 0, maybe not 0, let's do that, and let's make it capital, and let's try a different font. There is a font called Agency, which is Agency. I think that at regular. Let's increase the font a bit. So we have that. Now we just need to animate the character offset. So animate character offset. So from 0, let's see, so that they are random like that. And if we come to this composition here, I'm not sure if we should layer this on top of this, so we can just maybe create a new composition. Make sure it's 1280 and 1920 by 1080, and drag our matrix characters in here. So they are also going to be 3D. And maybe we can offset this position like that. And remember, they are animated like that, but you can see, I think there is some kind of transition between, it's like it's fading from top to bottom. So we can come through this layer and add an effect called linear wipe. So set the transition, it has to be from top to bottom. So negative, so let's see, 180, and give it a feather like that. And we can also give it a blur, a box blur, only in vertical direction, in the vertical direction. So let's see, and then we can bring this composition here in here, maybe above the adjustment layer. I don't know, maybe let's first turn off the adjustment layer. So we have that there, and it should also be a 3D layer with this rasterize effect on as well. So it's like this, it is going like this in this composition. Maybe it's too blurred, so we can reduce the blur radius, or maybe we just duplicate this, so the one below should not have the blur, but we should add the blur to the top, so that the characters are still there, are still visible, but we also have the blur on top. And then we have this random character that is always at the bottom, so we can just create that character. Control T, but this time it should be a horizontal. Let's use an E, increase the font size, maybe let's push these up around there. And we can also use a character offset here, the same character offset, so just paste that there, and you can see that character will always be at the bottom. And if you want, you can change this to any Chinese character, Chinese font. Let me see if I have anything here that can look, because they are always more interesting. Let's see if we have anything interesting, any interesting fonts here. Let's see what these are. Nah, So if you can find better characters, you can definitely use them here. But just go with that. And then we can make this fall from the top. So let's add a P for the position. Sorry, let's animate them from the top. I don't think this animation is going to last 30 seconds, so let's do it around there. Push them all the way to the bottom. So they will come falling from the sky like that. I think it's too slow, so and also we can come back to this composition and make sure that all of these animations are scaled down to make it faster, so around 10 seconds. Yeah, like the length of this animation, which is 10 seconds as well. So trim that composition. And that's what we have. So let's trim this again. So we have that. Maybe we can come here, select this E, duplicate it, and add a box blur effect to it as well. In the vertical direction. Let's increase the iterations to something like 2. And then we can also, let's see, 2 I think is good enough. Let's also increase the iteration to 2 here. Just to give it more depth, more details, so we can duplicate this view and move these keyframes, move these around, so duplicate, duplicate, make sure you're also moving them in the Z direction as well. You can select the entire thing, duplicate them, and just to make this easier, I will just parent them to a null object, which I can scale in one axis, in one direction, to flip them in the opposite direction. Turn this into a 3D layer. Also push it around like that. Maybe offset these a bit. So we have that. And we need this composition. I think it's already here, so let's see. So you see, we just need to add a few more details there to make it exactly like that. But the concept is there, and let's add back this radial zoom. Maybe get this composition, duplicate it, push it back, maybe even scale it in the x-axis. Let's first remove this radial blur and maybe reduce the opacity of this, and again push it back, way back. Let's make sure. Position. Let's push it way back like that, and then scale it up. And we can select, let's see, where is that? The X's, the X composition, Control D to duplicate it, and we can flip it. Maybe let's just push it back as well. Reduce the opacity a bit, go in the Z direction, sorry, in the Z position. As maybe let's scale it as well in the X direction, so that we flip it. In the opposite direction, maybe move it to the side and push it again back a little more. So you can move them out of the way like this. Make sure the username is still in front. And here we can just turn on the opacity and turn it off here at the beginning. So it definitely does require some work to be more accurate. Like you see here, you can see we just need to make more and more layers for this. But I just wanted to show you the concept behind this. You can see this here is just one of these animated dropping down, and you can see there are different versions. So basically, if you follow the tutorial step by step, and you add in a little bit more time, you can achieve this by just how is it called, touching up on this a bit more, and fixing up a few things like randomizing these x's a bit more, and making more that are smaller in the background. But for a live stream, it would take us a lot of time because I need to explain what I'm doing while I'm doing it, and yeah. But so that's basically that's how you get to this here. Yeah, thank you. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new here, and I'll see you in the next video.